People, today is Friday, May 29th, 2026. This has been going on for centuries. Most Americans have no clue. Here's a book, No Clue: Why the American Farm Action Exists and Demands Moral Revival Now. What's that mean? It means that the law has favored rich white men. And when it comes to free labor, when it comes to slavery, the slaves were property, right? Male and female. You can do anything you want with your property. None of this is new.
I just want to talk about the survivors for a second. Thank you so much for your words. They're here today. They were with us in Palm Beach a few weeks ago when we had a hearing there. And they've asked the Department of Justice repeatedly to meet with them. They've asked repeatedly to release certain files to them at least, such as their witness statements. And so we asked Pam Bondi about that today. She said it wouldn't be appropriate to meet with them for some reason. She said she doesn't recall anything about them asking for their witness statements. She's forgotten all about all of their requests, even their public letters. It seems as though she was ignoring survivors this whole time, which is pretty astounding to me.
Congressman, the Department of Justice that Pam Bondi once led has unveiled a $1.8 billion slush fund to give money to allies of Donald Trump, up to and including the insurrectionists who attacked cops. The department, I think, has hired at least one insurrectionist. It has plenty of election deniers deep inside its political fold. What is the reason for not meeting with victims of one of the world's most notorious and prolific child sex traffickers?
It's the thing that angered actually Thomas Massey and me the most. When we passed the law, we said, please meet with us. And they said, no. We said, okay, at least meet with the survivors and the survivors' lawyers so you can have a process. And for a party, the Republican Party, that has lectured us for decades about victims' rights, about listening to victims, about having victims have more of a say in their justice, for the Department of Justice to totally ignore that, to not meet with any of the survivors, any of the lawyers, that's one of the reasons we're in this mess. That's one of the reasons that survivors' identities were disclosed, that the pedophiles actually were protected, and that we don't have transparency investigations or prosecutions.
Danny, there's another survivor that spoke out for the first time. This is Andrea Sterling. Let me play this.
Yes. My name is Andrea Sterling. I am a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm breaking my silence because I'm done. I was living in New York when I was brought in by underage girls, just like me by then, who were also victims, trying to do what was done to them. We deserve justice. We deserve closure for ourselves and for every family that has carried this weight alongside us. The United States is losing respect globally, and those responsible are still protected by the system. We are not going away, and everyone in the government will show us exactly who they are: people of justice or people protecting power.
She says something that we have covered here and tracked. She says the United States is losing respect globally. I mean, we are one of the only countries that hasn't held its government officials accountable in the same manner that governments in Europe have. What is the rationale in terms of how you understand it?
I wish I knew. I think that, we've used the word cover up so many times that it gets old after a while, but it does feel a bit like that. It's the same way that when survivors' information has been released, the first time you think, okay, maybe it could be an error. The second time you're like, really? It's still an error? The third time you're like, okay, well, this has to feel intentional. So that feels incredibly frustrating. We look to the UK, and the UK is investigating Andrew. And then in this country, we look at what just happened with our fellow survivor sister, E. Jean Carroll, who is now being criminally investigated. And so we're putting our government resources into investigating E. Jean Carroll, but we can't even look through the 3.5 million pages and bring one person in to investigate. I mean, it really is appalling, and it makes no sense.
Danny Bensky, we are so grateful to you for speaking out and for talking to us today. Congressman Ro Khanna, thank you so much for being part of our coverage today. Coming up next for us, intimidation tactics only an aspiring autocrat would be proud of, what Kash Patel's FBI agents are doing instead of following up on leads in the Epstein investigation. That story's next.